Yeah, John's been a very versatile and important guy to our team since he came here in the kicking game and defensively. Um, he's smart, he's fast, he's tough, all good things in the kicking game, and all good things defensively, tackling, you know, covering fast receivers, and making smart decisions inside in the nickel position, which is where things can get kind of complicated with bunch formations and run force and things like that. So it's very professional, works hard, prepares well, and brings a high level of toughness, competitiveness, and speed to our team.
And next question, Bob Sosi.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning, Bill.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, I wanted to ask about the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel specifically, and the core concepts he's seen, in studying his offenses in San Francisco and he's seen this preseason with the Dolphins. How do you describe the progression you're watching what they've done thus far?
Well, the last 2 years, 49ers have led the league in yards after catch. So they get a lot of yards after the ball's in the receiver's hands. Um, a lot of emphasis on the zone running game. Um, again, things that we've seen from Kyle and even before that from Mike Shanahan. Um, but game plan team creates different things each week for the new opponent. Um, Multiple types of runs. It's not all zone runs by any stretch, and they use all their players, receivers, tight ends, whether it was Kittle or whoever, as part of the running game, or RPO, which is kind of an extended. It's a pass play, but it's kind of an extended part of the running game. Um, Outside screens and bubble passes and things like that. So they do a good job of attacking the entire field, and play actions come off the running game, and of course they've added a lot of speed to their team with the two backs and Wilson, Hill. Of course, they already have Waddle. So um, I don't know. It's explosive offense that has a balance of running game, play action, mobile quarterback, and deep ball, explosive play threats. Sure.
Next question, Chris Ryan.
Morning, Bill. How are you?
Good, Chris. How's it going?
Good. Kind of along those lines, I wanted to ask you when you're looking at a team or film or just watching a game generally, how often do you see something that is new and jumps out at you and you say, oh, this is the way the game is evolving, or do you feel that it's more folks going into the past and using things that have seen before? In other words, like is the game planning, is it growing, is it evolving, or is it kind of a repetition of what you've seen before?
Well, if you're talking about the offensive side of the ball, um, sometimes what's new is just something that that team hasn't done before. It's not like new. It's just something that you wouldn't expect or that team hasn't shown. But again, offensively, ultimately, you want to get the ball to your best and most explosive players. So how do you do that? Sometimes that comes from either a new idea or again something that that team hasn't done before, but now either they have a new player that they're trying to involve, or they have a player that they want to try to expand the ways that he can touch the ball conventionally or unconventionally. So I think it's really about each team trying to maximize the production from their best and most explosive players, and at the same time have balance. I think the kind of new plays, sometimes gadget type plays, a lot of times come from mistakes or things that happen in a practice setting that you look at it and say, well, we've never really done this before, but look at what the reaction was. Maybe we could put in a play off this, kind of like Paul Brown's version of the draw. Um, when the ball was handed off and the lineman thought it was a pass play and everybody ran right past the runner and there was the draw. So that's really, I think that's kind of how it evolves. It's each team trying to find ways to be productive, and occasionally you'll run into a defense that you're trying to find ways to attack, and maybe you come up with a new way to attack a certain thing that they're doing. But the more the defense is traditional, probably the less there is to create, and the more it's non-traditional, then they've done things in maybe some kind of an aggressive way, trying to create negative plays for the offense that might leave them vulnerable to some other type of play. So that's yeah, it's an interesting question.
Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome.
I'd ask if anyone else would like to ask a question to please raise their hand, but we'll go to the next question, Andrew Callahan.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Andrew.
You said this morning on EEI everyone should have a shot to play Sunday. Does that mean that Isaiah Wynn and Ty Montgomery will travel with you today?
It does.
Okay, great. And then looking at Miami for a second, you mentioned some of the RPO stuff with Coach McDaniel. How much of that is built off of their outside zone stuff?
Well, honestly, that's a hard question to answer. We haven't really seen them play yet. I mean, it's preseason. They're running their core stuff like everybody else is, and what they actually will come up with for us, I don't know. But I imagine it'll have its own flavor. It'll be something that attacks or tries to attack what they expect us to do or what they perceive our weaknesses to be. And we'll just have to see what those are. And I think, again, this is a team looking at San Francisco, that they have some core concepts. They build them in a lot of different ways, and they change them from week to week depending on who they play and what the opponent shows defensively in terms of coverage, run force, and front alignment, and how they set the front, and where they put their defensive players. Then that affects the formation building and the creativity that Coach McDaniel and his staff will use to try to put pressure on the defense. So we'll have to really see what those are. It'd be hard for me to sit here and tell you I know what the game plan is now, as I really don't.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And next question, Bob Sosi.
Bill, I wanted to ask you about Josh Blair and the Dolphins defense in this one, because that is one thing that is more of a known commodity where you've gone against his defense with the Dolphins. Of course, he coached under you. What are the things that have stood out in terms of the way the Dolphins have tried to defend your offense? Granted, it's a new year, but the way they've defended your offense the last couple of seasons.
Well, their structure is very similar to ours. I think we can look at their most of their defenses and put it exactly into our terminology. Here's what that call is, which is not normally the case, but again, because of the familiarity, I'm sure he could do, Josh could do the same thing with our defense. So there's just more familiarity there, but I think the Dolphins have built the team to be a strong front. They have a lot of big physical guys up front that are hard to block, especially in the running game. And they're one of the teams that plays one of the highest percentages of man-to-man coverage in the league. Certainly not all man, but they play a high percentage of it, higher than most. And they blitz, particularly their secondary players, but in general blitz more than most teams do. So they pressure the quarterback, and I think their DBs blitz probably more than any team in the league, and they pressure the quarterback a lot. That doesn't mean every pressure is an incompletion or an interception. There are completions there, but in general they get free guys or get players attacking the quarterback, and that's the start of disruptive plays. So I'd say those are the characteristics of what Josh is trying to do. Sure.
And it looks like final question. question to Andrew Callahan.
Hey, Bill, I know we talked about Coach McDaniels is obviously coming from the Shanahan tree, and it looks like he spent virtually his entire career there, save for maybe a year in the UFL with Denny Green. What do you know about him besides that? Just the Shanahans and who he's worked for and who he's coached with?
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of crossover with Coach McDaniel. You know, talked to him at the owners' meetings and saw him down there, but that's just really about the extent of it. But obviously, I have a ton of respect for Kyle and his staff and what they've done with the 49ers. And I know, you know, Mike's a big part of that. So, yeah, that's what I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Belichick, and thank you for everyone joining us today.
All right. Thanks, Steph.